That's right. Back at it again. Full custom hot dog here, and we're doing a Blu-ray review. That's right. We're going to be talking about the new Netflix release, Velvet Buzzsaw, which I was pretty excited about, directed by Dan Gilroy, who had previously directed Nightcrawler and Roman J. Israel Esquire. I think that's what it's called anyway. Nightcrawler is just a fantastic film. I immediately fell in love with it. I haven't reviewed it yet, though, but I should get to that. He also was kind of more of a writer. He wrote things like Real Steel, all the way up until, or starting in 1992 with Free Jack, a movie that probably not many people remember. I know I very vaguely do. So, Velvet Buzzsaw, probably one of the greatest names for a movie, and it's very unfortunate that that name has next to nothing to do with the movie. I mean, there is a mention of this Velvet Buzzsaw, this band. I'm getting ahead of myself here. What's this movie about? Well, let's go by IMDb's description. After a series of paintings by an unknown artist are discovered, a supernatural force enacts revenge on those who have allowed their greed to get in the way of art. So basically, paintings are found in an apartment that are supposed to be destroyed because a man died. They're his paintings. And I know I'm explaining this very poorly. A woman who is tied in with some art galleries and dealers in that whole industry ends up getting them and putting them out, I guess, for consumption. And a bunch of bad luck goes with that. And it sort of feels like a horror comedy, and it doesn't feel like it quite goes enough into one direction or the other for me. I wanted a lot more from this, and I think that's just because I was so off of the freaking hype of Nightcrawler. I loved Nightcrawler, like a lot. It's a favorite of mine, and then to know that the writer-director was doing something I was immediately hyped, and the title's Velvet Buzzsaw, which is one of the coolest names, and then it just... I guess I should talk about where it falls short. So I mentioned Velvet Buzzsaw doesn't really play much of a role. The title, of course. Rene Russo's character, Redora, talks about how she was in this band in the 80s, I think, this punk band, and they were called Velvet Buzzsaw, and that's kind of it. She has a tattoo, but it's kind of a bummer. I mean, they could have just called this art killer, bad art hurts, the movie. And that would have been fine. I mean, I think that's even more on the nose, but I mean, granted, again, Velvet Buzzsaw is such a good title, you can't pass it up. This also is Jake Gyllenhaal and Rene Russo reuniting since Nightcrawler, so that also added to my hype. And sometimes I think maybe I hype myself up on a movie so much, just the idea of what it could be, that if it falls short of expectations, it just falls short hard. But I don't see myself ever going back to this again. I didn't really get much out of it. I think part of it is almost feels like this take on an industry that's very foreign to me. I don't know much about art or contemporary art as an industry, so maybe that's just lost on me personally. So definitely let me know what you think in the comments if I'm off there. But all of that just felt foreign. All these hoity-toity people, rich people that are just kind of being rich, and then you have this mystery on top of it that doesn't feel like it begins to get explored until much later. I feel like it took a little bit for things to get ramping up here, and that was kind of a bummer. Now, you do have some cool visuals. You've got Hobo Man, this robot art piece thing that's pretty cool, kind of scary. A lot of the kills are very interesting, but I didn't think it... Again, I don't think it goes far enough in any direction, and that's kind of what I wanted from a horror movie. Give me a protagonist... Give me a reason to want more, I think, right? I think that's usually... one of the things that I think we might like about horror is when you want more of that. When you would want... I want to watch a movie and I want the sequel. Like, I want that feeling of wanting the sequel. And if that movie's over, especially a horror flick, if that movie's over, I kind of want to be excited for a sequel. And granted, this doesn't have to be that kind of horror movie, but I just was okay with it ending, and it couldn't have ended fast enough. I did kind of like some of the characters, but a lot of them came off as a little too comedic for me as well. So, I mean, that was kind of my problem on top of the whole, is this a comedy? Is this a horror? It's kind of a horror comedy, but again, I don't think it did very good at both. Great cast, though. You got John Malkovich also, again, in another Netflix exclusive, and one that fell short for me anyway. Now, I do know a lot of people that like this. I don't really know why, I guess. I'll definitely have to hear about it. Maybe tell me in the comments. This just wasn't it for me. Again, the art pieces were cool. There's a giant sphere that I kind of wonder if it's an homage to Phantasm, but I didn't see it explicitly said. The artist, the spooky artist guy whose paintings are possessed, I think are rad and very effective. I don't know if you remember, there was this picture, this painting called The Battery or something, probably like 10 years ago, that they said was haunted, of a boy and a girl, and then the longer you look at the picture, you notice more creepy details, and supposedly that was possessed. All the art in this movie reminds me of that, which is pitch perfect. So some great stuff, some bad stuff. I don't necessarily recommend watching this unless you just have to know what people are talking about when it comes to Velvet Buzzsaw. I could easily miss this one and I'll be all right. I didn't take much away from this. Again, some cool concepts in here, but nothing is really fleshed out for me. So anyways, let me know what you think in the comments. I'm definitely curious, especially with this one. Reactions seem to be pretty divisive. I'm seeing a lot of people that dislike it, and some people that really dig this. And it was kind of hard one for me to get through, you know. So yeah, let me know what you think. I'm definitely curious, and make sure to give us a like so we can get us all up in that algorithm, and subscribe. I do movie reviews frequently, and after this, I think I'm going to try to do the Rec series this week. And yeah, thank you for watching. You can holler at me on Twitter. It's Full Custom Hot Dog without the last O, because that is just too long for Twitter. And until next time.